In 2021, Kenny Omega and the Elite had taken over All Elite Wrestling, and there was no one left who could challenge Omega for the World Championship title. It was at All Out 2021 where Bryan Danielson would make his AEW debut, and his intentions were clear.
This is probably going to be the last full-time run of my career, and I really want to be able to push the limits of what I'm able to do. And AEW is really good at that. You're going to have to. Like, those guys are doing so much incredible stuff that if you want to be at the top of AEW, you really have to elevate your game. I feel like my match against Kenny Omega feels like the biggest match in my career. You know, it's like it's this huge shift for me as far as a new company. The first time I've wrestled a match outside of WWE in over 10 years. It's against the guy who I've watched. Like, you know, I watched outside stuff while I was in WWE. I love wrestling. And I watched Kenny Omega in Japan just become one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I was just like, man, one day I'd love to have that match. And now I'm actually getting it.
The stage was set for Danielson to attempt to unseat Omega as champion at Grand Slam later that month. Omega and Danielson fought to a 30-minute time limit draw, and it was thought by many to be the match of the year. But this would not be the last time Danielson would enter the world title scene, as he would go on to win an Elimination Tournament later that same year that would grant him his first official title shot, as the first match with Omega was a non-title match. Danielson would be unable to pin Hangman, as that match would end in a 60-minute time limit draw. He would also take his first loss in AEW to Hangman during a rematch for the title in January of 2022.
Bryan Danielson may be the best in the world.
Yeah.
He may be, because I looked at his cardio, I watched his pacing, I watched his thought process, the story he was telling, the physicality, giving and receiving. Everything you would want to see in a title match for an hour was there. They didn't miss anything. And I made sure when they came through that curtain and caught their breath for a second and started up the hallway to their dressing room. I don't blow smoke very much because it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. You know, it just don't feel right. Sometimes you just do it, you know, to lift somebody's spirits. But I told those two guys point blank, it's the best match I've seen in at least 25 years.
Wow.
And if anybody wants to combat me on that, love to hear their thoughts, but it had everything. And let me tell you something, Hangman held his end up. I told them both they made me proud to be in the wrestling business.
It was here that Danielson would enter his first real storyline in AEW by forming the Blackpool Combat Club with Jon Moxley and William Regal, who would act as the group's manager for the short time he would be with the company.
So it came about just very organically, and it was just this idea of how do we make me and John's match more interesting when John came back. And the idea, I think, the original idea was, okay, you guys get into a confrontation, you're watching the matches, and then, you know, you're like, I want you, or whatever it is. And I was like, what's more interesting is if my original idea to fight him, or was not to fight him, would just be to join him. Well, why do I want to join him? To make wrestling better. Well, what else could we do? And then, like, in my head, I'm thinking, like, okay, how could I convince him that I'm not just trying to fool him, that I actually want him to do this thing? So then I cut a promo saying, like, imagine the world that we could create if, like, you and I team together and we take some young guys and we take them under our wing and we fucking teach them how this business should be, goddammit. And, like, and when we got to the back after the thing, John was like, yeah, you were pretty persuasive out there.
I'm in.
And then I think persuasive enough that we just joined together after we fought. So yeah. So my dad struggled with alcoholism my entire life, or his entire life. And That's why I've never drank anything like that. And that was something that I always really struggled with. William Regal, because he's struggled with addiction in the past, helped me learn to love my dad without trying to change him. Like, just learn to love him as he was.
Yeah.
And so that was so just being able to be around Darren every week is just like it's a real gift.
It'd work without me.
Right.
It's just you got the perfect act, and I got thankfully it got asked to be a part of it, and it works on many levels because it's not an act. As silly as that got, the reasons most things that really work well in wrestling aren't in this strange world we're in. It's not an act. You have to believe in it somehow. Well, we really do think that we're all better wrestlers than everybody.
Sure.
We really do believe in taking young talent, and like no different than when I spotted Bryan. Well, people go, "Oh, you helped Bryan." No, Bryan helped me more than I ever helped him, because he came to me as a young person who wanted to do this. So Wheeler's getting that treatment off the three of us now. Same with John. When I first met John, I like him because there's a mystique to him, and I like the way he does his things and he talks. So this is all as real as it gets.
Shortly after forming, the young wrestler Wheeler Yuta would join after a rather bloody and violent star-making performance with Jon Moxley.
Yeah, to be able to be with those guys is just such a blessing. Like, to be able to have such good mentors, and in different ways too. Like, they all have like similar philosophies, but they all have like just a slightly different perspective as to how they look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could get different advice from John than from Bryan and from Claudio, but it's all such good, helpful stuff, and it's just finding the stuff that works for me. But I feel like when we started sort of telling the story of me joining the Blackpool Combat Club, it felt, to me at least, I don't know about them, to me it felt like real. Like,
I thought it did too. I agree.
Yeah. Like, I really did feel like, all right, I have to prove myself. Like, if I go into these matches and I had a vague idea of where I was going, but no one had given me like the definitive, like, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
So I felt like when we're having these matches, I'm like, if I don't bring it, if I don't really prove myself to these guys, like, they're not going to want me in their group. They're not going to want to be tied to me for the next however long, however many years.
Blackpool Combat Club's forever, baby.
Exactly. It's for life. So I was like, I've got to really make sure that I do actually earn my place here. And that was some, like, obviously you're fired up for every match, but that was some of the most like fired up I think I've ever been for a wrestler. It was just, this is me proving myself. Yeah, I found out about the Bryan and the John match on the day of. So I was like, all right, I really have to, like, as soon as I found out about it, I was like, all right, let's go, let's turn it on.
The first big moment for the faction would come with the announcement of the first ever Anarchy in the Arena match to be held at Double or Nothing that year. They would be facing the Jericho Appreciation Society in what would be a losing effort for the newly formed group. Undaunted by this loss, the group would be joined by Claudio Castagnoli, and they would attempt to recruit Daniel Garcia to the violence-loving crew as well. However, this would not end well for Danielson, who would be attacked by Garcia while attempting to win the Ring of Honor World Championship from Jericho, making it clear where Garcia's loyalties were.
This is a long game, right? And there are so many things that you can do right away to stand out, and when you do them, you don't focus on the basic things that you need to become a better wrestler. One of the reasons that I'm very high on Daniel Garcia, for example, is he focuses on the basics and expands. Now, he could do bigger moves, and he could do this, and he could do more of this, or whatever it is, and that would be an easier way to get attention at a younger age. But that's not the way to where he would be at 35. I think one of my fears with the younger guys who do so much stuff, but this is, this has always been happening with people. You slow down as you get older. But somebody like Daniel Garcia, who's focusing on the basics, he's getting better at all these different things.
If you'd like to know more about Daniel Garcia, make sure you check out that video on this channel and let us know down in the comments who you'd like to see us make a video on next.
I've been telling people on this channel to subscribe, and they won't.
Yes?
What can we do about that? Can you help me out? Maybe if you tell them to subscribe, they'll do
You
it.
threaten them. I'll threaten them
If
for
you,
you.
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. You don't have to do it till you're cursed.
Danielson would challenge Jericho again for the Ring of Honor World Championship at Full Gear. But this time, instead of being a one-on-one match, it would instead be a four-way dance that would see Jericho once again retain the title. It was after this loss that Danielson once again set his sights on the AEW World Championship, now being held by MJF. The two would have a 60-minute Iron Man match that was met with critical acclaim and be one of the highest rated matches of either wrestler's career.
Bryan Danielson deserves a tremendous amount of credit for being the captain of that match.
Agree.
And making sure that he fed MJF with material, physical material, verbal material, emotional material to sustain the contest. It takes a team effort without question. And I thought those guys scored big time. Because again, you get to let's remember the common sense aspect of these things. They're going to go an hour. We knew that.
Yep.
And Connie, people had already seen. When I say everything, I mean pretty damn much everything. So how do you follow that and invest your hour of the audience's time but I've seen nothing but good stuff. Feedback online about that match, and I just thought it was excellent. I really did. I'm proud of those guys. We say this on television, and I know part of it's hype, that he's the best wrestler, pure pro wrestler in the world. I think he is.
After this match, Danielson would turn heel and start a proper angle with Kenny Omega and the rest of the Elite. This newfound viciousness would lead the Blackpool Combat Club to a victory over the Elite at the Anarchy in Arena match at that year's Double or Nothing. It was a 2-for-1 redemption for Danielson, as it would give him a win over both Omega and Hangman, who he had failed to beat in 1-versus-1 competition the previous year.
I love brawling in the crowd. It's with the music playing. Like last year, even though I got hurt in the match, I loved it. And the live band this year was so great, and the energy in the arena, and so I love like fighting and feeling like I'm in a fight, and I love like the feeling of wrestling. To me, it's like you just feel it inside, right? And when you're in the crowd, it's even different, because it's like you get hit and you get punched and it's like, that sucks, but I just landed in a fan and they're hitting your shoulders and it's great, and it's I don't know, it just really makes you feel alive, right? And so I was thrilled. And the wrestling's more intense, and we're more intense, and nobody's more intense than us. Can you match our intensity, right? Was this match more violent? I don't know. Was it more intense? I think tonight, at least from my perspective, it was. Also, one, Wheeler's been doing a great job. I just want to say that. I'm very thankful for AEW, the willingness to put people like Wheeler Yuta in this position. So if you think of like where Wheeler Yuta was a little over a year ago, and now he just beat Kenny Omega in the main event of a pay-per-view. And I'm really proud of him for that. I'm really proud of this company for that. You won't see that anywhere else. I'm really proud of the work that we're doing here, and proud of the work that I've been able to do. I never thought I'd do another hour-long match again in my life. And I've done 2 of them, and I'm very proud of both of them. And and I'm proud of the work that we do here. I'm proud of the wrestling that we do here. I'm proud of a lot of the talent, especially the younger talent. Like, when when you feel like you start getting old, you see these people who, when I first got here, they came up to me and said, I watched you when I was a kid. And I was like, oh no. And, but then to see them grow in just the little over a year and a half that I've been here, it's so rewarding. And so, yeah, I've loved the experience. And I also, I've never been at a place where the company has so much heart for the wrestlers, and that is so meaningful and makes me feel so grateful for this place. Not only to have, like, it's great to have a second option, a competitor to the company that kind of had a monopoly on TV wrestling for the last however long, but to do it with such grace and to do it to be so successful so quick. I mean, look at how many tickets have we sold at Wembley at this point? Like, it's unbelievable. And it's just, I don't know, it makes me feel proud just to even be here.
This victory would be short-lived for Danielson, though, who would be unable to attend the first All-In at Wembley Stadium in 2023 due to injuries.
He broke my arm. I wrestled for 10 more minutes, and then I made him tap out. I've had a lot of injuries in my career. Every single one has not only made me a better wrestler, it's made me a better human. I was forced to retire in 2016, thought I would never wrestle again, and I came back and I was better. I've had concussion after concussion after concussion, and every time I came back, I was better. He broke my arm, I came back, and I was better. He fractured my orbital bone. I just did a tournament in AEW. I came back better, because what injuries do is they cause you to focus. They cause you to focus, and they cause you to get better.
At the end of 2023, Danielson would enter the Continental Classic tournament and start an angle with Eddie Kingston. Danielson would taunt Eddie by calling him the King of the Bums and make a point to disrespect him during his matches. Eddie would ultimately defeat Danielson in the semifinal round and eliminate him from the tournament. This would lead Danielson to challenging Eddie to a rematch at Revolution the next year, where he would once again be unsuccessful.
I was gonna lay it out to you, Bryan. I took all this shit because I got to get myself motivated. But what you did for me tonight, the shaking my hand, that's all I ever wanted, was the respect of my peers. I wanted the respect from you, Joe, Mox, Claudio, because that's what matters to me in this life, is respect. Championships come and go, man, but real legacy is the respect from the boys. I don't care about promoters. I don't care about, no offense to the Twitter fans or fans that came out there. I appreciate y'all, but what I care about is the respect from the boys. Because at the end of the day, you guys are the ones that are going to be talking about me, whether I was good, whether I was bad, whether I was a waste or not. I don't want to get too emotional, so I'm going to get out of here. I just want to say thank you, Bryan.
Dude.
Thank you for everything.
You fucking earned it.
Thank you. That means the world to me, man. Thank you.
You know, I thought it would hurt me more than anything to shake Eddie's hand, say that I respect him. But there was a moment in that match where I knew I fucked up his wrist. I'm good at that. I'm good at fucking people up. And I know exactly how hurt he was. And he fought through it. And there was this internal moment, this internal click that Eddie, me not respecting Eddie, it wasn't Eddie. All the things that we said about Eddie 20 years ago, about how much potential he had, about how he needed to work harder, about he needed to do this, and how he needed to do that, and how he needed to change his bad habits, and all of that. It took him a while, but he fucking did it. Fuck. And here I was holding on to this petty bullshit. And I realized it might have taken him longer, right? But the things that he's battled through and the things that he's struggled through, I should have given him my respect a long time ago. And, dude, he earned it. And me not seeing that, that's on me. But in the same way that Eddie can get past some of his struggles, I can get past mine too. And tonight I'm proud of Eddie, but I'm also proud of me seeing through my own bullshit. And when you can do that, and you get to the other side. I might have lost tonight, but I feel good.
Danielson would announce his pending retirement after losing a match to Will Ospreay at the first Dynasty pay-per-view that year. Although this match was widely considered to be one of the greatest matches of all time, it was becoming clear to Danielson that his time as a full-time wrestler would need to come to an end.
It was about 8 months ago. I told everybody that this is going to be my last year as a full-time wrestler. And I said it was going to be the most epic year of my career. But the truth is, it hasn't been what I wanted. You know, I fought for the TNT Championship against Christian Cage. I lost. I thought, okay, but I got another chance. I got the Continental Classic. Surely I'll win the Continental Classic. And I make it to the semifinals. And I lost. But I got a singles match against Okada at the Tokyo Dome. That will be my vindication. And then I lost. And then every big match, I lose, and I lose, and I lose. And the straw that kind of broke the camel's back was losing in Anarchy in the Arena. And I was pretty down about it. I was talking to Wheeler. I saw how fired up he was to come back. And I realized my last year as a full-time wrestler, it ain't over yet. And when Tony Khan announced that the winner of the Owen Hart tournament is going to get a championship match for the AEW World Championship at All In Wembley Stadium, I got fired up one more time. This might be my last shot, but it's going to be the best shot I've had in my entire career, and I'm going out on top.
Danielson would enter and win the Owen Hart tournament by defeating Hangman Adam Page in the final round, once and for all redeeming himself for failing to capture the AEW title from the Cowboy when he first attempted it in 2021. Not only that, but it was stipulated that the winner of this year's Owen would receive a shot at the AEW World Championship at All In to take place once again at Wembley Stadium.
I'm proud of what I did out there. And a lot of this, I'm proud of winning the Owen because Owen Hart meant so much to professional wrestling. But one of the things that I want to do before I go, this is important to me. This is why I'm doing this. Everybody needs a fucking why. And this is my fucking why. Is because I'm not going out because I can't do this anymore. I want to show my kids and my family that I can be the best in the motherfucking world. And I'm not stopping because I can't hang it anymore. I'm stopping because I love my family so much. We talk about Owen Hart. Tonight, I'm talking about Martha Hart. That's the kind of parent I want to be. And that's what this represents.
This really took people by surprise. People really thought this was going to be Hangman's match. I like all the close spots. I thought this is the best of what Bryan Danielson has been getting at. Like, it was just enough. It wasn't the rampant overselling of his neck injuries that he did against Will Ospreay. I thought that was really a bit much, but here it was more tastefully done, where he sold it a little bit. It's enough to imply it, Daniel. God damn it, you scare the hell out of us when you do that. And I think it's going to be fantastic that he's going to get his main event at Wembley. We're going to have to see if he's going to take home the world championship at Wembley. That is going to really surprise me if we do another, veteran wins the belt and then retires and vacates the belt kind of thing. Like, are we going to, did Bryan Danielson see Sting and go, give me the Sting treatment? Time will tell. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a great time kind of digging into the history of Bryan Danielson in AEW. If you think I should dig into the history of Bryan Danielson in Ring of Honor and WWE and all the other places that he's been, let me know. I could certainly make those videos. I'm kind of a rarity in that I'm a wrestling fan, and I kind of missed all the Bryan Danielson stuff in the WWE. I watched like the start of what he did in NXT recently, and I missed the whole Yes movement. I know what it is, but I didn't watch it. I wasn't watching wrestling when all that stuff was going on. So I think a lot of people have like a built-in equity with Bryan Danielson when he comes out. I don't have that, but certainly what he's done in AEW has made me a fan. I think it's been a fantastic run, and it's been really cool to see him get this victory lap. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Make sure you check out all the other great videos. The thumbnails are right there. They're playing in the background on this channel. If you missed any of those, go watch them now. And Grave Diggers, keep digging.
He is I, and I am him, and I'm the undisputed trend, Matt Taven. And this dork behind the camera, some Melvin told me to say, Grave Diggers keep on digging. Whatever that means.
I am AEW wrestler and Ring of Honor tag champ Mike Bennett. And remember, Grave Diggers keep digging, but not the monster truck. Even though my son really likes that monster truck, I kind of like Son of a Digger, and so I'm going off on a tangent about monster trucks because my son really loves monster truck, but we're talking about the YouTube channel, so make sure, Grave Diggers, keep on digging, baby.
But it's Mark doing one happy private party saying what up to the Grave Diggers and doing your thing, bro.
Alright, like, subscribe, and watch another video, or be cursed. If you're cursed, that means the Grave Diggers will keep digging your graves. So, you probably want to do it.